I feel very grateful and very honored to be here tonight and to be invited in this beautiful country. It was wonderful to have an opening about French literature, and I know that there's still a lot of people speaking French in Montenegro, which is wonderful, and so I was delighted to have a chance to talk about literature and about Beckett tonight. Being translated in Serbia, I have been invited to represent one of the French writers who would be here. I'm not the only one. There would be a few of them at the book fair, but I guess it's because I was translated in one of the language that is read and spoken here that I had the chance to speak about also this subject of an international figure as Beckett, international writer. So I had a chance to talk to people who knew them. So that was the two ideas, to mention France and this great man of Samuel Beckett. Well, I wrote a trilogy about Ireland. So it's the Irish trilogy. The first is about Sam Beckett. The second one is about William Butler Yeats. The third one is about Francis Bacon, which is an Anglo-Irish artist. So the book has been translated into English, thanks God, by an Irish translator, which is absolutely wonderful for me because she knows everything. Cleonanie Jordan, she knows everything about the two sides of the man, being an Irish man who wrote in French, so she has both sides and cultural references of Beckett, so it was really a chance to have her as a translator. So it was quite a journey to imagine 3 books that would tell a story about my own relationship to these 3 great men. And to Ireland, it's a way to talk about Ireland and France and the relationship of the two of them. Beckett is, of course, the Irishman who wrote in French, who became a kind of ambassador of the French language, who changed the French language through his own language based on the kind of grammar he used from the English that it turned into something special in French. Short sentences, changing the punctuation, changing the rhythm of sentences. So it was an adventure to have this bilingual man who was able to change the language. It usually happened by a foreigner writing in another language. It's not very common for a writer to change his own language. You need people from abroad to change the language. So this was a wonderful journey for me to imagine the opposite. Like what was he thinking in English when he was an old man in his nursing home in the old days, thinking in English, and the language of your youth comes back. And the voice of his mother comes back. All his English is there. And I was thinking, what was he thinking in English? And so I could turn that into French sentences. So I had this step outside by thinking in English, by using visions and vocabulary and images from the English language that I could use in my own language in French. It was a way not to be too much inhibited in my own language, to have this journey, bilingual journey in my own language. So it was a step for me and a help to write. We are convincing a lot of readers to go back to reading. I mean, people do like reading, and reading won't, disappear. But it's a big time for screens at the moment, for social media, and for a lot of time spent in those activities. And I do think that's the end of this cycle, and probably readers will go back to literature because human beings still have this same need of fiction and art. And I do think it's very important to keep on with the reading, which is a very different way to see the world, and that we all need that at some point. And it's a great way, this book fair, to open it to different kind of writing, different kind of authors from several countries. So it's a very open book fair, and I think we need that, to have everybody can find a way of writing that they would like as a reader. We all have different tastes as readers, so I do think that a book fair is a great opportunity to ask questions to writers, to have a different relationship to them, and maybe to see writing in a different point of view.